Welcome to the Terror Express Terror Talk. I'm Jason Bradford, and we are continuing our conversations of the Friday the 13th franchise with Jimmy Pressley, author of A Bloody Halloween. Welcome back to the Terror Talk, and I look forward to talking to you about Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. Uh, I'm going to jump right into this one here. I already know how you feel, and I want to discuss this a little bit. Jimmy, tell me, why is Part 6 one of your least favorite installments of this franchise?
I call me serious, I got what Tom McLaughlin wanted to do. I did not dig it. I didn't like the comedy, and the weird lines. Now I laugh at a few of them. I like the gothic look. I thought C.J. Graham did great as Jason, but I didn't like the look. I thought the mask was too big. I thought his head under the hood was, too enlarged. I was nitpicky with this film. I don't know why. Everybody loves it, but it's honestly near the bottom. I'll put Jason Takes Manhattan over, and I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. You might want to edit that out.
Well, I'm also a fan of Part 8, so we might both get a lot of hate over that one.
Oh, well,
But see now, I'm on the same side of the fence as you on some of the things that you said, but on more so I think on the other side of the fence, I am a fan of Part 6 is one of the sentimental ones to me. It ties in with some memories of my sister who's passed away. It's one of the only movies that I've ever seen four times at a movie theater. It holds the record for most times in a theater for a single movie. Now, as far as the film goes, the quality of the film, I think it's such a beautifully shot movie. I think it's the most beautiful visual movie in the franchise with the lighting and the fog, and I think it's just stunning to look at.
absolutely. And sorry, Harry Manfredini's score. I didn't mention that. That's
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I do love about it too. The way it felt.
Yes. Did you like the Alice Cooper also
You
being in
know
the
what?
soundtrack?
Yeah, I thought that was really
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, I actually did like that. I liked all the songs. I think there was three of them, and I really liked all three of them. And that I dug. I was at that age
Yeah.
when I discovered that movie. I was about 8 or 9, so it'd been out for a couple of years.
I want to talk a little bit about what your favorite and least favorite kills in part six are. So I usually ask you what's your favorite first. What's your least favorite in part six?
But the least favorite, as always, between the time we talk and the time we record these, and it's just coincidence because me and Jason we like talking our Friday the 13th and horror period. But
Hmm.
my least favorite always changes. I'd have to say, as of this moment, I liked every death like you in that movie. Um,
Yeah.
but honestly,
Overall I agree. It's got some of the greatest kills overall, more so than any other installment. But I'm sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
no, it's all right. I moved the death up. I'm not even sure what I told you my least, if we even talked about my least favorite death from six. But at this moment, it'd be a simple the cop that got the throwing knife to the forehead. I mean,
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
didn't
mine
do
too.
nothing. Yeah,
Mine
that
too.
was just
Mine too.
quick and easy. Yeah.
Yep, and which is funny because C.J. Graham has gone on record saying that was his favorite death in the film. I don't know
Oh
why.
God.
Maybe it was something to do with filming it. Maybe he liked the way it was edited back, or maybe
Yeah.
just thought of the way
It
of the
was a
death.
good
But
edit.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
what was your favorite kill? And this one's for me is going to be very hard to answer because there's so many great ones in this one. But what was your favorite?
My favorite death was that we talked about on the phone because it was the most heartfelt for me because there's something about Paula that I really just love. I love the girl, the woman now that portrayed her, and I love the character. She's the one I would have wanted to be my counselor, the one I would have wanted to be friends with as an adult or a young adult. It was Paula. I mean, it was she was the loving, caring counselor, the one who was trying to do her job,
Hmm.
when everybody else disappeared. And I mean, it didn't show it, but she got massacred. There was nothing left to see when they found that room. So yeah, Paula hands down, probably in the franchise.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Yeah. You have to wonder what did Jason do to her and why was he so angry with her? But yeah,
right?
I agree. He was Paula definitely got her slaughter on. Jason got his slaughter on with Paula, I should say. But I'm going to give a little bit of a shout out to some of the deaths that didn't quite make my favorite in part six, but I would feel really bad not to mention them because They are so great. But we got Nikki with the head smashed through the mirror in the RV. I love that one, the brutality and the creativity of it. Very unique and original.
Oh yeah.
And then you've got Sissy with the head twist and her character. She could have been the final girl. She was also like Paula, very sweet and very loving, and just the wrong place at the wrong time, I guess. I can't
Oh
think of any horror movie rules that she broke, you know,
yeah.
that are been laid down as tropes in the horror genre. But a shout out to her death as uh, an honorable mention, if you will. And then you got, I'm sorry, I'm distracted right now. Somebody in my house is making popcorn. It smells amazing. So I'm sorry, but it's the movie theater butter going on right now that the senses are going off the charts with it right now. But so I mentioned Sissy, and I think Lizbeth needs to be
Oh yeah.
mentioned. There's this a scene with her character in that muddy water puddle, and Jason's just standing there watching her, and he disappears, and you don't know when he's gonna hit the screen, and then when he just falls in that puddle, and he brings that fence post down on her to her face, and she's just under the water, and you again very little blood at all, but that death was so horrendously graphic that it's
Sure.
hard not to at least mention that one. Is pretty up there as far as my favorites go. But my favorite of part six, I'm going to have to go, and I touched on this already, Sheriff Garris.
Yeah.
Wow. The sound design on that kill, the execution, the visual of it was just so brutal.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most brutal in the franchise for me. And I know we're not going to go into, and listeners, I don't know if I've mentioned this or not. We're not going to talk about any of the Friday the 13th that weren't put out by Paramount. So there's not going to be a Jason Goes to Hell conversation. There's not going to be a Jason versus Freddy or Jason X. But I will mention Adrian and Jason X as being one of the more brutal kills in the franchise. I tie hers with Sheriff Garris up there,
Oh yeah.
and Debbie from Jason Goes to Hell. I may have even mentioned that in prior episodes, but these are some of the deaths up there. But for part six, Sheriff Garris is my favorite.
Yeah, he'd probably be number two for me in that movie, and it's real close. I couldn't even measure the distance because I remember when they finally explained in one of the documentaries how they filmed that. I was like, I couldn't figure that out for the life of me. I tried every way in my mind to figure it out, and then to actually see, and I'm not going to give that away. You can if you want, but to see how they did, I'm like, oh, wow, that was simple. So adding those sound effects
Yeah,
sure took you.
yes, the sound effects definitely took it to a whole new level.
Oh yeah, that was
Definitely took it to a whole
fantastic.
new level. Yes, it was. And I wonder what they used for that, but I don't know. Maybe the
God,
information's out there. If listeners, if you know what sound effects were used for Sheriff Garris's back break, let us know.
oh yeah,
Because I would love to find out more about that one. But Jimmy, thank you for joining us in this little venture to Camp Forest Green with Jason Lives. It's been again a very fun conversation, and I enjoyed hearing your points of view on the sixth installment. And I had a great time chatting with you as always, and I look forward to uh, joining you again with Tina and Melissa and Maddie and Ben and all the other characters of Friday the 13th Part 7, The New
one of my
Blood.
favorites. Yeah,
You know, it was at the top of my favorite list for many years. Part 2 and 7 actually were two of my all-time favorites before I
yeah,
fell in love with Part 3 and 5. So it definitely held very dear to me, and it it has one of my all-time least favorite kills in the entire franchise. So we'll talk about that a little bit when we get to that episode, which is actually coming up on our next episode. So thank you, Jimmy, again for joining us on Terror Talk here on Terror Express. I really enjoy having you on.
oh yeah. Thank you. Me too. This has been fantastic. I love talking with someone that can appreciate the franchise as much as me. So thank you so much.
Yes, yes, very, very, very honored.